side. Zadie Smith. I already read, what did I read? White Teeth. A big boulder that I got on the beach that's holding the door closed, but it's so windy today that the wind has blown open my door several times, and that's what that noise was, that boulder. Okay, so my pile's getting quite high already. It's like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to do this? I'm going to try. I'm going to give it my utmost effort. I figure it's like 2 to 3 books a week. Hey everyone, my name's Jazz and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited. I'm super excited to share with you my TBR for the Tis the Damn Readathon, which started already. I am really going to push myself to read, because it's a reading marathon, I'm going to push myself to read more than I normally do. And I think I'm a bit intimidated by that. And then I'm also intimidated by some of the choices that I made. So it's good. It's going to be a good personal growth experience and hopefully a lot of fun. So my first pick is going to be for the prompt, read a book that is a romance in another genre. And my pick for that is a book that I already started reading, which I have read before. It's a reread for me, but when I read it before, I was quite young, and quite honestly, this is my favorite book. One of my favorite books. It's hard to pick a favorite book of all time, but because I read it when I was a youth, when I was a young woman, and I just was so moved by this book. I wonder if anybody can guess what I'm going to say. The book is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. And I know there's a lot of debate about, who's the best Bronte sister and what's the best Bronte book. For me, this is hands down the winner. I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments what you think. I know that it's a raging debate, the debate about the Bronte sisters, and then also, do we prefer reading Jane Austen to the Brontes, and so on. I really don't I'm not a fan of this copy. I think sometimes it's nice to have, this is a copy, Signet Classics. I'm not really a fan of this copy. It's a sort of a typical pocket book that you could carry around with you and kind of destroy, I guess, if you wanted to. Not that I'm into destroying books, but you don't have to stress about reading this book. So I'll probably be reading this copy of it, even though I don't really like it. There's something about reading a really nice copy of a book, especially a classic, that, I don't know, it just is preferred. So I'm going to show you a really beautiful copy of Wuthering Heights that we own, our family owns. It's actually not mine. I'm going to get in trouble, I think, if I get found out. This is a publication of Wuthering Heights that, I don't know if you can see it super well. Okay, so this is the novel library, and it was published in 1950. And it's just from a different era altogether, as I'm sure those of you that kind of collect older editions. The paper is very thin. It's like paper thin, and you really don't want to, I think you don't really want to mess with it too much. I'm probably going to get in trouble for even opening the spine this far. We have a lot of old books in our family. My dad was a big book collector, so I have access to so many old copies of stuff. I feel really lucky. But look at the inside. I love the inside notation here. It says first published in the novel library 1950, and then it's Emily Jane Bronte, born, and her birth date and her death date, and the date that the book was first published. And I just find it very moving, of course, because she only lived such a short time and she didn't really write anything else. So, that makes me sort of feel sad, but also very grateful that she gifted the world with this fabulous book. So it's my first pick. And I think it actually fits in a lot of the different prompts, but I don't know how valid it is to use the same book for different prompts. Maybe somebody can tell me. I get the impression that the rules are fairly loose on this, and they are what you make them. I mean, it could go for a recommendation because I'm recommending it. So we may not be friends yet, but we will be. Okay, so that's my first pick. And yeah, the genres that I think Wuthering Heights would be Gothic. I mean, I think it's traditionally a Gothic literature. I think it's also a coming of age story, or at least it's been presented as such or discussed as such, and a tragedy. Definitely a tragedy as much as a romance. So I'm pretty happy about that because the reread is going to be special for me. Unfortunately, I don't remember everything about the prose and everything about the storytelling. I remember loving it. I remember the basics of the story, and I of course remember the Kate Bush song, but I don't have a vivid memory of actually reading it. So I'm really looking forward to reading this again. So my next choice is another book that I just started, and I think it's fair because I really did just start it. And it's for the I wasn't able to find a book with a number in the title that I really felt excited about reading, so I decided to abandon that prompt for 1989, and I'm reading the Bad Blood prompt, which is to read a book with a morally gray character. I was going to read a nonfiction book for this. In my first video that I posted, I discussed the possibility of reading Hoax, but decided against it. Maybe another time. I don't even know if I'll get to it. We'll see. I think there's a part of me that just wants to leave the Trump era behind. Anyhow, I digress. I really probably shouldn't be political on my channel, but maybe I should. I don't know. Maybe it's the best place to be political. Anyway, as I said, I digress. So my pick for a book with a character that is morally gray, I'll reveal it in just a minute. But I'll just read the description of the character that I think means that it qualifies for this prompt. So the character's name is Jonathan Alcides. He's described as running an international Ponzi scheme. So Ponzi scheme right away. I mean, I think right there we've got some evidence. And then it goes on to say moving imaginary sums of money through clients' accounts. So I think that qualifies. The book, of course, is The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel. Emily St. John Mandel wrote Station 11, which I read and really, really, really liked. And I think that this has had some mixed reviews, but I'm curious to see myself whether it's good or not based on what I like. So that's my pick for the Bad Blood prompt. The first video that I shared, I mentioned that I really like reading about morally gray characters. I think it's really interesting. Maybe this character isn't even really morally gray. Maybe they're just completely corrupt. We'll see. I will find out. Looking forward to it. And then my next pick is from the prompt for Folklore. To read a book that's based on mythology. So in the end, I had thought about having this be my pick for my 5-star prediction, and I do think it will be a 5-star prediction for me, but I guess I have a couple of those on my TBR. This is Circe, and this time I'm pronouncing it correctly. I didn't pronounce it correctly last time, and I'm really excited to read this one. It's just had so much positive feedback from people that whose opinions I respect, and yeah, I'm super excited to read this one. So already I don't want to hyperventilate from excitement, but also from a bit of anxiety, because that's already for me, I feel that this is a lot just by the page counts too. I don't know how many pages I can actually read in a month realistically, as well as work and all the rest of life that's going on. Speaking of which, in Canada, we are just starting to see the vaccine roll out, which is extremely exciting. I already know a few people who've gotten their first inoculation, and I'm just really looking forward, as I'm sure I speak for everybody in the world, when I say that I cannot wait to go to a restaurant again. I'm so excited to go to a restaurant again. Yay! So the next pick is one that I've been meaning to read for a while, that has been highly recommended all over. It's my 5-star prediction from Lover. And But there's a catch. I can't read this book without reading another book beforehand, because I believe that this book is based on another book that I haven't read. The books that I'm referring to are The Vanishing Half, which is the 5-star prediction. And then the book that it's based on is this book, Nella Larsen's Passing. Well, at least I think it's based on this book. That's what I've been told. And I've been strictly warned that I have to read Passing before I read Vanishing Half. So I'm going to follow that advice. So I guess Passing could also qualify as my pick for a book that was recommended by a friend from the prompt, Look What You Made Me Do. Look What You Made Me Do. So that's this pick. And then following up with Brit Bennett's The Vanishing Half. And I also have a copy of Brit Bennett's The Mothers, which I'm going to read afterwards, but I guess that will be in April. Although I am expecting the possibility that some of these books may carry over. Is there yet a tag for books that you start in one month and then carry over into another month? I'm wondering if there's already a tag for this. A few YouTubers have already tagged it. If you know what the tag is for that, you can mention it in the comments below. And if not, I'm making one. It's either going to be spill over or carry over. I don't know. You can let me know what you think is better, what you think will catch on in the interworld, on the interweb. I figure it's like 2 to 3 books a week if I read everything that I've chosen based on the prompts, but I guess that's why it's called a marathon. And I noticed that there's I think it's March 13th, that it's been chosen as a date to have a reading marathon where you stay up for 24 hours. I'm just going to say right now, I'm not doing that. I'm not staying up all night. I stayed up all night so often when I was in university. And, well, by comparison, I'm an old lady and I am not staying up all night. I need my 8 hours of sleep, and otherwise, I can't even form sentences. So sorry, not doing it. But kudos to all of you who have the enthusiasm and the vitality to do it. I commend you. So as I mentioned, I really, really love the prompt for Evermore, which suggests picking something at random, either by using a random number generator or some other way. I appreciate this prompt because I do sometimes make decisions that probably I should just make. There's just so many decisions to make in life, and sometimes I don't know if it matters what choice you make. It feels like it matters, but sometimes maybe it doesn't matter that much. So this is on beauty. I also have, you can see it on my bookshelf here, I have Northwest. I actually haven't read it yet, Northwest, so I actually could read that. Oh my gosh, I have too many. I could read that as one of the ones with red on the cover, because I don't have one for the prompt for something with red on the cover. Oh man. Oh my gosh, I can't decide. Somebody let me know what I should do. Oh, I could use random number to generator to choose between these two. Anyway, it'll be one of these two, because I actually don't have a prompt for red, and I think I already used a prompt for Evermore. I swore. Oh yeah, for No Body, No Crime. For No Body, No Crime, I'm definitely going to read Sanatorium. Okay, so you can see I'm very enthusiastic and also a little disorganized. I apologize. So since I already have a prompt for Evermore, maybe I will read this for red, because I did not have a prompt for red. I'm figuring it all out right here with you right now. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, there's officially no more room on my shelf. Oh my gosh. This should really demonstrate that I'm in over my head, people. Well, truth be told, there are only 3 more in addition to these that I was hoping to read. And I have another one that I want to read for a book club. So my TBR for March is quite long, longer than I've ever had. It will be more books than I have ever read in a month in my entire life. And that's saying a lot, because my life has been, I'm not going to say how many years long. People can guess. People can guess my age. You know, I have my frown lines here. So I got these good frown lines, which I'm very proud of. Okay, I'm probably going to cut that out. So this is my last choice, and I already started reading this, and it came, again, this could be a recommendation but I'm reading it as for the prompt for Taylor Swift, the Taylor Swift self-titled album and the Taylor Swift prompt of reading a memoir. I'm pretty excited to read it, actually. I started it. It's really good. I have heard that it starts out really strong and then it's not as good. But again, I'm going to form my own opinion, and I will let you know what I think of it after I've read it. But I'm super excited to read this book. And can I just say, like, yes, I love old books, but I also look at this amazing cover. Look at this cool cover. This is such a cool cover. My last prompt. I have one other book. Okay, so I really don't think I'm going to read this. This isn't going to happen in March. But if this was extended into April, so A Little Life, and everything I hear about this is that it's harrowing, a harrowing read. So I'm intimidated by the size of the book. It's 800 pages, and I'm also intimidated by the harrowing aspect of it. I think it's going to be quite impactful. And I think the way it's described by many is that it will destroy you. Not like the show I May Destroy You, but which is an amazing show, by the way, plug. Anyhow, probably not going to get to it, but it's on my TBR, and it's definitely going to get read this year. And despite the fact that people don't want me to read it because they want to protect me, I'm reading it. When you tell me not to do something, I mean, it's like Murphy's Law. When you tell someone not to do something, guess what? They want to do it. And finally, I am going to read Rebecca, which is the group read, the read along. I'm really excited to connect with people. I don't like this copy of Rebecca. It's hard to find a really nice copy of Rebecca. It's hard to find copies of any of Daphne du Maurier's books. So hard. And it's a shame because she's such a great writer. I read Jamaica Inn. I think I read it just before the holidays, and I thought it was really great. And we happen to have quite a nice copy of Jamaica Inn. This copy of Rebecca was picked up at a book box. We have book boxes all over the place here. They're free depots where you can leave books for people to pick up, and you can also find books. Often the books that you find, though, if they're really good classics, they're not in the best condition. But I have come across some pretty interesting versions of different books in the book boxes that they tend to be damaged. Often they'll have water damage, but they're perfectly good for reading. The words are still there. The story's still there. And again, it's kind of nice to have a copy of a book that you're not especially fond of, because if you were to drop it in the bath, it's totally okay. No biggie, right? As long as you can still read it. So that is how many we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus another book. No, it's not going to happen. I can't read that many books in a month. Normally I read 4 to 5 books in a month. But it's a challenge, right? So let's see how well I do, and let's see how many I get under my belt, and let's see how many I have to carry over. Thank you so much. If you made it this far in this video, thank you so much for spending this time with me. And if you like this video, you can click the like button. You can subscribe to my channel down below. And if you don't like this video, maybe just keep it to yourself. Bye. curious to see what you chose, because I mentioned in the first video that I posted that I don't know why my glasses are crooked. It's really driving me crazy. They used to call me the frown at work. The frown. I don't think it was complimentary. Okay, so yes, that is I did not just throw a book on the floor. I didn't. And finally,